What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me again today. Glad to see you. It's cold, it's sunny, it's duck season. It's a good day. And we're going to be talking about Lucky Duck spinners versus Mojo spinners. But before I get into that, I want to know down below in the comments what your experience has been with each. I've never used Lucky Duck before. I've hunted over them. I've had friends that had them, but I've never personally owned one. So I want to know whether you've had Avian X, Mojo's, Lucky Duck, whatever spinner you've had, good or bad, what's your experience been? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, the reason why we're even talking about the subject of Lucky versus Mojo is I've always run Mojo spinners. The past few seasons, I've run the Mojo King Mallard, their highest model, their best model, and I've been really pleased with it. Well, I'm hunting a few weeks back, and it's cold, it's windy, it's cloudy, and I look over to my spinner, and there's nothing on the pole. Like, it was just an empty pole sitting there. So I run out there, I find it under the water, down under the pole. Thankfully, when I pick it up though, it's still spinning. I don't know if it was under for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, I really don't know. And the reason why it went in the water is because the little insert piece that goes in the pole had broken off. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. That little piece right there is all that's holding the King Mallard on your pole, which, as you can see, it's hollow, which makes zero sense to me. That's just, in my opinion, a cheap way to do it. I mean, this thing ought to have some kind of bolt in it or be a solid piece. It's just really weak for the size of the Mojo, in my opinion. I called the company and was like, you know, what can we do about this? I kind of duck hunt for a living. I need to be fixed up immediately. I don't care what I got to do. Just, you know, the thing broke. It was very obvious that it was the product's fault. I don't know. It's a tough thing to say on that, because you would have people who took advantage of it if they just shipped out new ones. But also, if you are like me and you depend on your spinner every day and you can't be down for 2 weeks, it's very frustrating when you have to send it in, pay for shipping, and then maybe they'll send you a new one back. I mean, that's just like, I can't rely on that. Now, all that brings me to today. So I made a little post about it, and a representative from Lucky Duck seen it and said, hey, we'll fix you up, buddy. We'll take care of you. And they decided to send me out one of their models. I think it's their top model. I'm not even sure which model it is, but got that in the mail, so I'm going to be unboxing that today. But also, Mojo seen it. They overnighted me another brand new King Mallard, which was super nice of them. The fact that they overnighted it to me, you know, I was only down for 2 days, and I can't complain about that. I was also super thankful that the King I had was still spinning after completely being submerged in water for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, who knows how long. So now that I've got a Lucky and I got a Mojo, my plan is to hunt the crap out of them for the rest of the season and find out which one's going to be better. I'm really excited about that, and that's why I wanted to get your guys' opinion. Now, I will say for the King, this is a huge consideration for me when I'm choosing a spinner to hunt with. The King will absolutely turn in 50+ mile-an-hour winds. I know a lot of people say, well, nothing will spin in 30+ mile-an-hour winds. I've hunted and sustained 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds. It's insane hunting something like that, but I've done it multiple times, and I've never seen the King Mallard, Mojo King Mallard, shut down because of wind. I have seen the lower level Lucky Duck shut down in 20+ winds. So I've never hunted over the biggest Lucky, the most expensive one, so the jury's out on that. I really don't know how the wind affects it, but that's a huge consideration for me. Other than that, I just want it to work and work for more than a season. If we can get that, whichever brand does that is the one I'm going to go for. So I haven't even unboxed the Lucky. Let's go look at it and see what we're working with. Come on now. So I must say, starting out, I'm a sucker for good packaging, and I really like this. This is just got a really cool vibe to it. Dig that whole thing. I think this is their highest version, their waterproof Lucky HDi. It's cool that it's waterproof, and it does include a remote. Sweet. They include a bag with it. That's awesome. Mojo does not do that, so huge points for that. I'll open this in a minute, but I was just thinking of how am I going to carry 2 spinners now, because I'm already pretty stacked. Oh wow. Very nice, very nice. I love the way Lucky does their pole mounting system. I've always liked that. Unless this breaks, which I'm sure this is easy to replace, you're never gonna have the problem I had with the King. On first impression with these wings, my first thoughts is that they're really small. I mean, this is the King Mallard wing and this is the Lucky wing, and you say, well, what's that matter? Well, this is how much flash you're getting. A bigger wing is going to give you a bigger flash, which could be good or bad. I mean, later in the season you may want the smaller flash, so I'm just saying there's definitely a difference in the wing size. Now, I've literally never messed with a Lucky at all, so I'm just seeing how everything works, seeing how the wings attach. Okay, pretty simple, nice smooth connection. Which one thing I like about the Mojo is that while their connection's kind of hard to initially connect, I can't ever remember a time seeing one of the Kings lose a wing. So once you get them connected, they're stoutly connected, and I like that about the Mojo. They're definitely slide out a lot easier than the Mojo, which makes me think it may be a little easier for them to disconnect, but we'll see. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. It did come with a remote. Not sure what all the settings are yet, but we'll play with that. And so there's no doubt a size difference. The King's a little heavier, a little bigger. And like I said, the problem with the King is this stupid hollow connection. I mean, this is about the cheapest way you could go. I mean, this is such a tiny little connector when you're connecting a decoy this heavy, which is probably why it broke on me. Go ahead and connect the Mojo up. I will say the Lucky is a lot easier to connect, not just as far as pushing it in there, but you have to line the Mojo up, that little slot with a screw in there, and it just always takes a minute. I always like to do mine like an actual mallard, but it just takes some time to line it up. But like I said, once it's lined up, it's a lot harder to pull out than the Lucky. I don't think you would ever lose this wing in the wind or anything like that. All right, let's let this bad boy spin. Much bigger flash, no doubt. Let's see if I can get both of those going. The Lucky's definitely got a little smaller flash, but that may not be a bad thing. But if you're trying to run traffic and pull them further, you know, I'll try to do a test of these in the actual field, but just looking at it right here, the Mojo's got a much bigger flash. Now both run off a lithium-ion battery, I'm pretty sure, which charges better. I do like Mojo's new charger with their new King Mallards. It's got an indicator that lets you know when it's charged or when it's not, so you're not just guessing like all the years previously. Which it looks like Lucky's got an indicator as well, which is nice. I mean, it's nice to have that. Love that part of it. Love that they come with a bag. That's pretty cool. Heck yeah. It's got a place for the wings in here, and looks like it's got a place for the poles as well. Love that. That's a great idea. So another awesome thing about Lucky is this pole. This is the pole that comes with it. As you can see, it's about, I don't know, about 7 foot tall, I'd say, at its longest. But what's cool about it is that you can break it down and remove sections if you want. And you can run it all the way up at 7 foot tall, or you can take a few sections out and run it all the way down to, I guess, 2 or 3 feet tall, which is super convenient. It's like Lucky just took all the things that were missing and fixed them. Let's see how short we can run this thing. Yes, I love this pole system. That's genius. So this is probably where I would mostly run it. That looks about like 3.5 feet or so. That's freaking genius. So huge shout out to Lucky on doing the poles like this and giving me the option to hunt with any size pole I want. I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So if you wanted to and you're hunting in like really shallow water, I mean, you can do it at, what's that, 2 feet maybe? So I plan on hunting with these two throughout the season, and we'll see which one's gonna do better for me. Huge thanks to Lucky and Mojo for getting me fixed up and sending me a couple spinners. I must say I'm pretty impressed with all the little things that Lucky Duck has done with the customizable pole that you can use high or low, the way it connects to the pole, the included bag. It's the little things, and now if they can just work and function properly, I'm going to be pretty pleased with it. But again, the big question is, will this Lucky spin in 30, 40 plus mile an hour winds? Because I know for an absolute fact, I've used 2 different units in super high winds of the King Mallards of Mojo. They will spin in 50 plus mile an hour winds. At least all the ones I have will. So the Mojo motor, King Mallard motor, is definitely a stud. And again, I did sink this thing, not this particular one, but my other one, for 3 to 5 minutes underwater, and it was still spinning when I pulled it out. I'm also really excited to compare the flashes, the smaller flash of the Lucky, these tiny little wings, compared to the big wings of the King Mallards. You know, will it make a difference, and which one's gonna be better? So I'm really interested to see that. I wish Lucky would provide a bigger wing option, maybe sell like 2 sets of wings, because I'm just guessing without having experimented with it that some days that King Mallard wing is going to be better. I mean, it's almost, what, twice the size maybe? Maybe not quite twice, at least a third the size. But I'm sure the Lucky will probably last longer. It's got less weight. So hang with me through the season. I'll try to keep you guys posted on how each one is doing, keep you updated, try to show a little bit throughout each of the videos this season. I plan on using both every day, and we'll see which one comes out on top. Here's another hunt of mine you can check out right here. Here's a tip video you can check out. Stay with me. I got weekly videos coming every week. Subscribe if you hadn't already, and Lord willing, I'll catch you next time right here on Chasing Green.